The following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter number 10, text number 9, given by His Grace, Sriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari, recorded on April 27th, 2008, in Tallinn, Estonia.
So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter number 10, text number 9.
Сегодня мы будем опять читать Шримад Бхагаватам, 55 глава, 10 и стих какой-то.
This is a poetic verse. It could have been written on the board, but it's too late now.
Кто-то вспомнит стих? Какой стих?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Brahmana uvacha tvayoditam vyaktam avipralabdam bharatu sameshyad yadi virabhara gantur yadi syad dadi gamam madbha piveti rashau navidang pravada. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The great Brahman, Jad Bharat, said, "My dear king and hero, whatever you have spoken sarcastically is certainly true. Actually, these are not simply words of chastisement, for the body is the carrier. The load carried by the body does not belong to me, for I am the spirit soul. There is no contradiction in your statements because I am different from the body. I am not the carrier of the palanquin. The body is the carrier. Certainly, as you have hinted, I have not labored for carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. You have said that I am not stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know the distinction between the body and the soul. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things for the spirit soul. As far as the spirit soul is concerned, I am neither fat nor skinny. Therefore, you are correct when you say that I am not very stout. Also, if the object of this journey and the path leading there were mine, there would be many troubles for me, but because they relate not to me but to my body, there is no trouble at all." Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge is not disturbed by the pains and pleasures of the material body. The material body is completely separate from the spirit soul, and the pains and pleasures of the body are superfluous. The practice of austerity and penance is meant for understanding the distinction between the body and the soul, and how the soul can be unaffected by the pleasures and pains of the body. Jad Bharat was actually situated on the platform of self-realization. He was completely aloof from the bodily conception, and therefore he took this position and convinced the king that whatever contradictory things the king had said about his body did not actually apply to him as a spirit soul.
Джада Бхарата, достойнейший из Брахмана, отвечал царю: «Во великий герой и своими язвительными речами ты не только выразил недовольство мной, но и прекрасно объяснил истинное положение вещей. Ведь на самом деле паланкин несу не я, а мое тело. Я вечная душа, а не тело, поэтому груз, который несет тело, не имеет ко мне никакого отношения. В твоих словах нет противоречия, ибо я и мое тело отнюдь не одно и то же. Именно тело несет твой паланкин, а поскольку я отличен от тела, меня, как ты и намекнул, эта работа ничуть не утомила. Ты сказал, что я не слишком упитан и не отличаюсь силой, однако утверждать такое может лишь тот, кто не понимает различия между телом и душой. Полным или худым может быть только телом. Ни один образованный человек не станет приписывать эти качества душе. Но с другой стороны, ты прав, я душа не тучный и не худой. Поэтому вполне можно сказать, что я не слишком упитан. Кроме того, если бы весь этот путь с паланкином должен был проделать я, мне пришлось бы немало потрудиться. Однако этот путь прошел не я, а мое тело. От меня же вообще не потребовалось никаких усилий. Комментарий Божественности Бхактивинода Свами Шрила Прабхупады. В Бхагавадгите сказано, что человека, сведущего в духовной науке, не выводит из равновесия радости и страдания, связанные с его материальным телом. Душа не имеет с материальным телом ничего общего, поэтому телесные страдания ее не затрагивают. Весь смысл аскетической практики заключается в том, чтобы понять, что душа отлична от тела, и что страдания и наслаждения, которые испытывает тело, к ней не относятся. Джадабхарата полностью сознавал свою духовную природу. Ему были чужды телесные представления о жизни. Поэтому он отвечал царю с позиции души и убедительно доказал, что все замечания, которые царь высказал по поводу его тела, к самому Джади Бхарати, то есть к вечной душе, не относятся.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Purijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha. So, this Krishna consciousness philosophy is actually perfect. Wherever you find such a knowledge like this anywhere. You can go to the university. You can take this course, that course, so many courses. You will not find any knowledge like this. Why? Because this is transcendental knowledge. It is not some mundane, speculative knowledge. Raja Vidya Raja Ghuyam Pavitramidam Uttamam Pachaksavagamam Dharmyam Shushukam Kartamam Vyayam. Krishna says clearly in the Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge is the king of education. It is the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge. And because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. It is the perfection of religion. And it is joyfully performed. Susukam. There is sukam, that is happiness. But when that becomes very, very, very happy, it is not sukam. It is susukam.
это не просто счастье, а очень...
So, this Krishna consciousness process,
И вот это и есть процесс сознания Кришны.
it is susukam.
Он является сусукхом.
It is simply nectar.
Это просто нектар.
Prabhupada told us like them.
Шрила Прабхупада таким образом говорил.
In the early days, we called him Swamiji.
В ранние дни сознания Кришны мы называли его Свамиджи.
And he told us in one lecture
В одной лекции он сказал,
that you cannot find any point about this Krishna consciousness that you can say, Swamiji, this point is troublesome.
вы, если, так сказать, окинете взглядом сознание Кришны, вы не можете найти ни одного пункта, по которому могли бы обратиться ко мне и сказать, Свамиджи, вот это беспокойство является.
Srila Prabhupada told us there is no trouble at all.
Шрила Прабхупада сказал, что нет вообще никаких беспокойств.
It is simply recreation.
Это просто...
Now the karmi, they are working very, very hard, day in and day out, you see.
Что можно продолжать совершать это день за днем, день за днем.
Going to the job,
Отправляться на работу
worrying about getting laid off from their job, you see.
и беспокоиться о том, что поздно с работы приходит.
Struggling like beast of burden.
Очень тяжело бороться, как неся такую непосильную ношу.
Ashyo, you see. And then once a year they get a vacation.
И раз в году получая отпуск.
They go to some beach house somewhere and they enjoy. Oh, now I can have some recreation.
Отправляясь на какой-то пляж там где-то. О, здорово, как я могу сейчас восстановить свои силы.
But a devotee doesn't have to wait for some vacation, you see,
Но преданный не ждет никакого отпуска обычно.
because he's having his vacation at every minute.
Потому что его отпуск каждую минуту продолжается.
At every minute he's sporting in the waves of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy.
Потому что он каждую минуту получает милость Господа Чайтаньи Махапрабху.
He doesn't have to wait for the nectar.
Он не должен ждать какого-то нектара еще.
The nectar is already there.
Что нектар уже там содержится.
You may say, but how you can say that this world is a vast desert?
Ну, вы можете, кто-то может сказать, как вы говорите, что это мир,
It is a struggle for existence.
такой, очень хороший, как борьба за существование.
Where is the nectar?
Где же нектар-то?
I may feel it in the temple, but when I walk outside, it's horrible.
Что, когда я вокруг прогуливаюсь, я просто себя ужасно чувствую.
Do you think Krishna is not existing outside of this temple?
Как вы думаете, Кришна, что не существует вне этого храма?
Do you think Krishna is not in your heart?
Не думайте, что Кришна находится в вашем сердце.
As I have been quoting this verse recently,
Как вот я недавно повторял этот стих.
Krishna is saying, Sarvasya, what is that? Yo mang sarvasya sarvasya sarvang cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami satchamena pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me,
Для того, кто видит меня повсюду и все видит во мне,
I am never lost,
я никогда не потерян.
nor is he ever lost to me.
И он никогда не потерян для меня.
And this point is confirmed also in chapter number 4.
И вот этот момент, об этом моменте указывается также в 4 главе,
Text number 7.
в 7 тексте.
Matak parataram nanyat kinchirasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre maniganaiva. O conqueror of wealth,
Завоеватель богатств.
there is no truth superior to me.
Нет истины, которая является выше, чем
Everything rests on me
я, и все покоится на мне.
as pearls are strung upon a thread.
Так же, как жемчужины, надетые на нить.
So when you walk out on the Tallinn street,
И поэтому так же, как вы идете по улице Таллина,
you should no longer see just Tallinn,
и вы не должны видеть так, что это как Таллин просто.
but you should see there is one thread running through this place,
А вы можете видеть такую ниточку, проходящую через эти места.
holding it together, you see.
И все это, ниточка, она все это вместе соединяет.
You should see, oh, there are so many pearls here, you see.
Вы можете видеть, как здорово, прекрасно жемчужину
There is this church. There is this office building. There is this street light. There are these people here. There are these people over there. There are the trees. There is the sky. There are so many things all around me. They are simply pearls strung on the thread of Krishna. If Krishna were not here in Tallinn, there would be no Tallinn. That's all. There would be no Tallinn. There would be no earth. There would be no sky. There would be no universe. Krishna is there holding everything together. When you go to your job on Monday morning, when you walk into that building, you can say, this is a big pearl strung on Krishna. So in this way, you have to see Krishna everywhere. When you go to the classroom at the university, the University of Tartu is simply a bunch of pearls strung on a thread, that's all. Wherever you go, if you fly on the airplane, if you go on the ship, if you go on the train, if you go in the car, if you go on the ashol, however you may travel, even verblut. Some people travel on verblut. You know that verblut, the camel, yes. Some people travel on verblut when they cross the desert, you see. So however you may travel, however you may live, wherever you may go, whatever you may do, you simply have to see how Krishna is there holding everything together. If it wasn't for Krishna, your body would fall apart in a minute. Your body also is like pearls strung on a thread. Your eyes, your ears, your nose, your belly. It is all being held together by Krishna. If there was no Krishna, your body would just fall down and disintegrate into nothing. So we are dependent on Krishna at every step. He is holding everything together. And the amazing thing, he doesn't have to do it personally. Actually, he's just having fun with Radha and Rani and the gopis and Raj. It's not that he's struggling to hold Tallinn up, you see. He's struggling to keep the airplanes floating in the sky. No. By his energy, he is doing all of these things. This is the amazing potency of Sri Krishna. That he is doing everything. At the same time, he's doing nothing. He's simply sitting back, enjoying some prasadam in Vrindavan, you see, with his cowherd boyfriend. But by his energy, he is making everything happen. You may say, how is it possible? It is inconceivable to me how he be in one place playing his flute for the gopis, at the same time making the street lights work here in Tallinn. You know, red and green and yellow street lights. Yeah. It is only by Krishna's Shakti those street lights can work, you see. So how can he play the flute while at the same time make the street lights work, you see?
Как он может одновременно играть на флейте и заставлять светофор переключаться?
I will give you a mundane example.
Я вам дам обычный пример. Материальный.
If there is some big wealthy man,
Если есть какой-то очень богатый
he
человек,
has so many hired agents who manage his company on his behalf.
у него есть там очень много управляющих, которые компанию руководят.
Just like I have one disciple in Riga,
Так как у меня есть один ученик в Риге,
aspiring disciple, his name is Ujas.
он как бы кандидат в ученики, его имя Удис.
And he is big businessman.
Он большой бизнесмен.
He runs the most powerful, he owns the most popular radio stations in Latvia.
Он является владельцем одной из наиболее популярных радиостанций в Латвии.
And he has his hired agents.
У него это,
Just like Dinas here, he is a hired agent.
у него есть высокий агент высокого положения.
But his radio station is going on and every minute is being broadcast on the radio, you see.
А его эта радиостанция каждую минуту вещает. Все там.
He has more than how many stations? 2?
Сколько у него радиостанций?
Now he has 2 radio stations and they're broadcasting 24 hours a day. They're always on the air.
Сейчас у них там две этих радиостанции, они вещают 24 часа, они все время в эфире.
But sometimes Ujas, he can travel with me just like I was recently preaching in the Fiji Islands in the South Pacific.
Но однажды вот Удис, он со мной как бы отправился там, когда я проповедовал на Фиджи, там, в Тихом океане.
So he came there with me. He was traveling and preaching with me in the South Pacific.
И так он поехал со мной, вот, путешествовал со мной вместе там.
At the same time that he was there in the South Pacific, enjoying the wonderful South Pacific preaching activities, his radio station was still going on.
И в тот момент, когда он со мной находился и наслаждался тут проповедью там.
So, if even an ordinary businessman of this world, you see, he can enjoy traveling and preaching in the South Pacific, while his radio broadcast is still going on, 2 stations, 24 hours a day, you see. Then certainly Krishna can do. He can enjoy playing his flute in the forest of Vrindavan while all the material universes are going on very nicely. So we have to understand the inconceivable potency of Sri Krishna. And we have to somehow connect with that inconceivable potency of Sri Krishna. And if we do connect with that inconceivable potency, what will be the result? What will be the result? We will experience a life which is inconceivably sublime. Do you want nectar? Or do you want poison? Do you want to taste the nectar every minute? Or do you want to drink poison, Bhagavatam? What do you want? Huh? Yes. In Estonian language and in Russian it is also nectar. Nectar in Estonian? In Estonian it is nectar. In Russian it is nectar. 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 So whether it's nectar, or nectar, if you will take shelter of Sri Krishna, if you will accept Him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you will fully surrender yourself at His lotus feet, then you will be swimming in an unlimited ocean of nectar at every minute. Now the Mayavadi, they also have the idea of that ocean of nectar. The Mayavadis say that you merge into the ocean. But this is not the right idea, you see. What is the fate of the water of the ocean? What happens to the water that's in the ocean? Do you think it stays in the ocean? Do you know the water of the ocean does not stay in the ocean? By the influence of the sun, that water evaporates into the sky. It becomes cloud, and the wind blows the cloud back to the land. So the Mayavadi, he may temporarily merge into the spiritual sky. But his liberation is only temporary. Bhagavatam says, Ruya krichchena parang padam tada padantyato nadrishad yushmarangrayaha. They fall down again to this material existence because they have no regard for the lotus feet of Krishna. So my question is this. Is there any type of living being that stays in the ocean? Of course there are. That's the aquatics, the fishes. The fish stay in the ocean. They remain in the ocean. So the Vaishnava, he wants to become a fish in the spiritual sky. You see. Not literally, I mean like a fish. That he can remain in that spiritual sky. So, to want to merge into that ocean, that is less intelligent. To want to become a creature who resides permanently in that ocean, that is intelligent. And the way to do that is called Bhakti Marg. The path of Bhakti. The path of Bhakti. So, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have been very, very fortunate to receive this path of Bhakti. All we have to do is to follow the pathway of the previous acharyas. Is there any difficulty? We simply follow this pathway. If you are lost in the wilderness, you are starving to death, you are dying of thirst, and you are lost in the wilderness. You're struggling to find the civilization again, so you can survive. But you're not able to find your way out of the wilderness. But if you are very fortunate to come across a person who knows his way out of the wilderness, and you simply follow that person, then all your problems are finished. This is described by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. Brahmanda Brahmite Konna Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadai Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. After wandering through the wilderness of this material existence for countless eons, countless years and millions of years, you see, One who is very, very fortunate, by the mercy of Krishna and Guru, he receives the seed of bhakti within the heart.
И Кришна даже Госвами говорит в стихе, что человек, личность, которая находилась очень многие долгие годы, там, века, там, в материальном мире, то по большой задаче она может встретиться с гуру и получить бхакти-лаву виджа, семя.
So when we are very serious to realize God,
И поэтому, если мы очень серьезны в том, чтобы познать Бога,
when we are serious to realize what is the absolute truth,
и если мы очень серьезно настроены понять, что является абсолютной истиной,
when we are serious to get out of the suffering of material
если мы
existence,
очень серьезно по поводу того, чтобы вырваться из страданий материального мира,
then Krishna very kindly sends to us
и Кришна тогда очень по большой своей милости посылает нам
a bona fide spiritual master.
истинного духовного учителя.
He is described as Pata Pradarshaka Guru.
И описывается его положение как Прадаршика Гуру.
The spiritual master who shows the path.
Это духовный учитель, который указывает нам путь.
Sometimes the Pata Pradarshaka Guru, he is also known as Siksha Guru,
Иногда Прадаршика Гуру также известен как Шикша,
because he instructs us how to go back to home, back to Godhead.
потому что он наставляет нас по поводу того, как отправиться домой обратно к Богу.
If we simply follow such an enlightened spiritual being,
Если мы следуем просто за такой просветленным живым существом
faithfully executing his instructions,
и с верой выполняем его наставления,
then all of our problems are finished.
тогда все наши проблемы придет конец.
We won't have to struggle anymore.
Тогда нам не нужно будет больше бороться.
Struggle finished.
Борьба заканчивается.
Simply we have to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master.
Просто мы должны принять прибежище у истинного духовного учителя.
Is this merely some flowery words?
И думаете, что это просто такие цветастые слова?
No.
Нет.
I know from my own life
Я знаю из своей собственной жизни,
how I was struggling before I found my spiritual master.
как я на самом деле боролся до того, как я встретился.
I was so miserable. It's just horrible to think of how miserable I was, actually. It's horrible to think.
Я на самом деле так страдал, это даже ужасно подумать, это страшно подумать, что
It was like living in a nightmare, a horrible nightmare.
и точно так же, как будто бы жил в ночном кошмаре.
But that wonderful morning, when I accepted his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Dandigo Swami Maharaj Prabhupada as my eternal spiritual master.
Однажды, одним прекрасным утром, когда я принял прибежище у своего духовного учителя, Шри Прабхупады,
Everything turned around.
все перевернулось.
Everything turned around. Just that one simple act of taking shelter of the bona fide spiritual master.
Просто благодаря одному этому действию простому, принять прибежище у истинного
It completely transformed my eternal existence.
это полностью преобразовало мое все существование.
And once I grabbed a hold of Prabhupada's lotus feet,
И я, соответственно, просто держу за лотосные стопы Шри
I
Прабхупады,
never let go.
и я никогда не позволяю ему уйти.
I've been holding on tightly ever since for 37 years.
Я просто очень крепко держу за лотосные стопы 37 лет уже.
And I'm still holding on tightly right now at this minute as I speak to you.
И даже вот сейчас, в данную минуту, когда я продолжаю говорить с вами, я продолжаю делать, крепко держусь.
Because without his blessing, I cannot speak very nicely.
Потому что без его благословения я не смог бы там очень хорошо говорить.
I have no
У
qualification.
меня нет квалификации.
Mukam karoti vachalam pangum namikate gadim yat kripa tamahang vande Shri Guru dinatadanam. By the mercy of the Guru,
Здесь в стихе говорится, что по милости Гуру,
even a babbling idiot, he can give eloquent speeches.
даже полный идиот может говорить прекрасные речи.
And a lame man, he can cross over a mountain.
Хромой человек может через горы переходить.
So somehow or other, by his grace, I am here today.
Так или иначе, по его божественной милости я здесь сегодня.
I'm feeling very blessed with the association of you all sincere souls
Я очень чувствую себя вдохновленным благодаря присутствию таких искренних
who want to absorb themselves in Krishna consciousness.
которые хотят себя погрузить
So from the deepest portion of my heart, I must sincerely thank each and every one of you today.
И в глубоких уголках своего сердца я каждого из вас хотел бы сегодня поблагодарить.
For so kindly giving me the opportunity to glorify the process of bhakti.
Потому что вы от милости дали мне такую возможность прославить процесс бхакти.
So now I can ask if there are any questions.
Сейчас я хотел бы спросить о том, есть какие-то вопросы.
Is it true that the chastisement and the glorification that the spiritual master gives to the disciple are actually equally blessings?
И вопрос в том, что на самом деле это так, что вот это, когда духовный учитель ругает и так далее, то оно настолько же является благословляющим, как и там.
No, they're not.
Нет.
The chastisement is even more mercy.
Потому что когда ругают, еще больше милости.
Prabhupada explains, the student who is more chastised, he is advanced. So from one perspective, they are both mercy. But actually the chastisement, it is even more mercy than the praise. I was attended one Bhagavatam class at our temple, Juhu, Mumbai temple. And the devotee was giving a very nice point in his class. He said, if you find a devotee who is always chastising you, you should invite him to move in and live with you. Because he is your best friend. So the more the guru chastises the disciple, that is very good for the disciple. But don't act like a fool. Actually, I think it was, yes, Advaita Acharya was always being glorified by Lord Chaitanya. And he just couldn't stand it. So he started speaking Mayavadi philosophy, so Lord Chaitanya would chastise him. He thought that is even more sweet nectar to be chastised by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes a neophyte, he's afraid of being chastised, you see. So the spiritual master has to flatter such a neophyte so they don't crumble and go away, you see. Sometimes a neophyte is so tender they cannot take being chastised, you see. So the spiritual master has to flatter that neophyte devotee, you see. But as that devotee advances in Krishna consciousness, then he can take more and more chastisement. Prabhupada was one time very strongly chastised by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he took it as the greatest blessing. He was sitting in the class, hearing the lecture, and there was one old man who was hard of hearing. There was one old man who could not hear very well. He was asking Prabhupada at that time, Abhaicharan Day, what is he saying? So Bhaktisiddhanta saw that Abhaicharanadavinda was talking during his lecture. And he stopped right in the middle of the lecture and chastised me in front of everyone.
И он остановил лекцию мгновенно и отругал его прямо перед всеми.
And he took it as the greatest blessing,
И
actually.
Шрила Прабхупада принял это как очень такое большое благословение.
Any other questions?
Есть ли какие-то еще?
Он сказал, что он страдал. Я не понял, он страдал до присоединения к Харе Кришна или Харе Кришна страдал до принятия Шрила Прабхупады.
You said that you personally suffered before,
Yeah.
and Bhagavatam he'd like to know more exactly. Is it happens before you
You joined.
join to ISKCON, or you join ISKCON and before accept Srila Prabhupada?
In ISKCON.
Ever since I accepted Prabhupada, my life has been ever increasingly blissful.
На каждом шагу, когда я принимал Шрила Прабхупаду, моя жизнь становилась какой-то.
It was before I joined this movement that I was suffering like anything.
Только до того, как я, как сказать, присоединился к этому движению, я страдал.
As soon as I took shelter of the ISKCON boat,
Как только я принял прибежище на этой лодке ISKCON,
my life has been simply wonderful.
моя жизнь стала просто замечательной.
That doesn't mean there have been no difficulties.
Но это не значит, конечно, что не было трудностей никаких.
But because I always held on to Prabhupada's lotus feet through all the difficulties,
Ну, потому что я всегда держался за стопы Шрилы Прабхупады, я превзошел.
I was always happy.
Я всегда превзошел трудности, я был счастлив.
Actually, they have a saying in English.
На самом деле по-английски так говорится.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Что если вещи какая-то становятся трудной, то нужно толкать ее, тогда станет легко.
So difficulties are actually an opportunity to advance in Krishna consciousness.
То есть смысл в том, что вот эти трудности возникают для того, чтобы просто продвигаться в сознании.
They are an opportunity to become more dear to your spiritual master.
Они являются возможностью стать более дорогим своему духовному учителю.
Just like when after Prabhupada left this planet,
Точно так же, как когда Шрила Прабхупада на этой планете
there have been so many difficulties in ISKCON.
там тогда было очень много трудностей в ИСКОНе.
There's another English saying, when the cat is away, the mice will play.
И такое выражение на английском, когда мушка уходит, значит,
So,
мушки играют.
sometimes it is like that in ISKCON. Now that the founder Acharya is gone, there's so much nonsense going on.
И также в ИСКОНе тоже произошло, что когда Ачарья ушел, тогда всякие глупости стали происходить.
But instead of becoming discouraged,
Вместо того, чтобы взять и разочароваться,
I'm thinking, oh, what a golden opportunity Prabhupada is giving me, you see.
но я просто воспринял это так, что это такая возможность, которую Шрила Прабхупада мне дает.
Prabhupada could have stayed here to personally keep the movement on the track, you see.
Он смог бы.
Прабхупада мог бы сам оставаться и поддерживать, чтобы движение на рельсах.
But now he's empowering me to keep the movement on the track.
Но сейчас в этой ситуации он меня наделил могуществом, чтобы движение продолжать.
Along with my other God brothers, you see. He is empowering us now that we will keep the movement on the track.
Вместе с моими
Вместе с
духовными
своими
братьями.
духовными братьями он наделил меня теперь полномочиями, чтобы это движение продолжало двигаться.
And now you must also become empowered that you can keep the movement on the track.
И сейчас к вам это тоже имеет такое отношение, что вам нужно вести такие полномочия и продолжать это движение.
That Prabhupada wants.
Это то, что Шрила Прабхупада хотел.
That his followers, they all become empowered to keep this movement on the track.
Чтобы все его последователи стали способными поддерживать это движение на пути.
Any other questions?
Есть еще другие вопросы?
Yeah.
Вот вчера вы сказали, что вайшнавы ругают, они ругают с любовью. Это, надо понимать, не благость, да? А ведь если была другая лекция, да, что если кто-то ругает менее возвышенный человек, то он может свои энергии передавать другому, поэтому это нехорошо. Нужно с любовью ругаться, но уметь надо ругаться.
You told in lectures that if Vaishnava, if he chastises somebody, it's good.
If they what?
Chastising.
No.
Chastise. With love. But if somebody do it without love,
it's not. I taught in today's lecture, if I am chastised by my spiritual master, then that's very good. That's what I was saying.
Yesterday also.
I said that if devotees chastise others, it's good.
Если ругает Вайшнав, то это благостно для другого, потому что он с любовью ругает.
She said you told that if Vaishnava chastises somebody with love, it's good for him.
Yes, that's the key. If you're that means you're trying to help that person. You're correcting them. You see, if somebody is doing the wrong thing, and you sincerely want to help them, and you're trying to serve them, you see, then that's very good. But you have to, that is said, discretion is the better part of valor. You have to see if they're willing to hear from you or not. They have to trust you. If they don't trust you, then you're not going to be able to, you won't be effective in telling them anything. They have to trust that your intention is compassion and not egotism. For example, I could chastise you, Mataji. You see? Let's say I chastise you about something. Now, if you think that I'm doing it out of pride, then you will not accept it. If you think, oh, Sankarshan Prabhu is just trying to lord it over me, you see, then you will be angry, you won't take it. But if you understand that I'm chastising you out of love, that I'm trying to serve you, I'm trying to help you become a pure devotee of Krishna, then you will be very grateful for my chastisement. So we have to know who we can chastise and who we cannot chastise. And we have to be qualified also. We have to have some advancement in Krishna consciousness before we can actually instruct others like that. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to live what you're talking about also. Does that answer your question?
How to concentrate, how to be attentive on the lotus feet of Krishna visually.
To imagine.
How to keep your mind always fixed on Krishna's lotus feet?
Like visually, like watching on them or seeing.
Well, it is recommended in the scripture that when you take darshan of the deity, you should not jump immediately to his face. Just like this morning when I took the darshan of Nittai Chaitanya Chandra, when the curtain opened, I did not look at their faces. I simply looked at their feet. I would look at Lord Nityananda's feet, Lord Chaitanya's feet, and back and forth I was looking at their feet. And then after some time of looking on their feet, I was looking at their knees, the area where their knees are. And then gradually their waist, their chest, their neck, and then their faces. This is recommended, this is instruction given in the scripture, that you always begin by taking deity darshan, by looking at the feet. Because we are the humble servants, bowing down at the feet of the Lord.
склоняются к стопам Господа.
It's not that I'm like Arjuna, a friend of Krishna. I can just come up and pat him on the back like a buddy or a pal.
Это не так, что я как Арджуна, друг Кришны, там вот что-то.
No, I'm a humble servant.
Руку на спину положить, конечно.
So, lotus feet means you must always be in the mood of being humble servant.
Нет, я слуга, и поклоняться лотосу стопам, это значит быть всегда смиренным слугой.
Humble servant of Krishna,
Всегда служить Кришне.
humble servant of Guru.
А смиренный слуга Кришны, смиренный слуга Кришны.
In this way, if you always remember, I am humble servant,
Всегда.
then you'll always be able to keep your mind fixed on the lotus feet.
Тогда вы все время можете свою ус сосредоточить на Кришне.
But if you become proud,
И тогда
you won't be able to keep your mind fixed on lotus feet.
То, что вы не будете гордыми. Когда вы будете гордыми, тогда не можете.
So you must always keep yourself in humble mood. That's all.
поэтому все время нужно в таком смиренном.
And then the lotus feet will always sit in your heart at every minute.
Тогда лотосные стопы нужно всегда.
The lotus feet of Guru will always be sitting in your heart.
Тогда лотосные стопы Гуру должны храниться в сердце.
And the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Radha and Krishna, they will always be firmly planted in your heart. If you always remember, I'm just the servant of 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 Krishna. Any other question? I got a hand up over here now. Yeah.
Talking about glorifying and chastisement, isn't it that glorification is dangerous than chastisement?
It's what?
Dangerous.
Injurious?
Dangerous.
Dangerous?
В отношении прославления и ругания не так ли, что прославление более опасно, чем ругать?
Actually, there can, for one who is praising, just for example, the spiritual master, he sometimes praises and he sometimes chastises. Chastisement has its dangers and praise also has its dangers. The danger of praise is the disciple thinks, oh, now I'm great. The disciple becomes puffed up. That's the danger of praise. There's a famous pastime when Bhakti Tirtha Swami, at that time he was Ganesham Prabhu, he came to see Prabhupada in London when Prabhupada was very sick in his final days. Bhakti Tirtha Swami told the story how Prabhupada glorified him like anything for his book distribution exploits in Eastern Europe. And he became very, very proud that I had been so much glorified by Srila Prabhupada. And the next day Prabhupada totally neglected him. So there is a dangerous side to being praised by the spiritual master. And that is, you can think that I deserve this praise. The devotee never thinks that I deserve to be praised. If his spiritual master praises him, he simply says, oh Guru Maharaj, it is only by your mercy. It is only by your mercy acting through me that I have been able to do something that pleases you. Otherwise, I am completely rascal. That this is confirmed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That song, Guru Dev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dase, that very nice song. That Guru Dev, your mercy is all that I'm made of. Any other questions? Is everyone satisfied now? Yes?
Dangerous of chastisement. You said that dangerous in both.
Yeah, the danger is if the disciple is too much of a neophyte, that chastisement may cause them to run away also.
Я спросил опасность этого ругают, или говорили, что если преданный слишком неофит, то он может уйти.
So the spiritual master has to be careful.
Поэтому духовный учитель должен быть осторожен.
But
Yeah.
that is danger on the spiritual master or the devotee preaching.
Same thing.
But the danger on the other side is that because they are already puffed up.
Yes. We're all puffed up, that's a thing. We are very puffed up. Our desire is that please puff me up a little more. As we say in English, fluff and duff me, please.
Вот я спрошу одну вещь. Я спрошу, что он объяснит, что в мире выиграет справедливость или зло?
Что в мире выиграет?
Что останется в будущем? Да. В конце концов, да.
He asking, what will win in the result? Evil or good? What will win? Because it's always fighting between.
Sometimes evil wins a battle, you see.
Иногда зло, оно побеждает.
Sometimes evil will win a battle, you see.
Иногда зло, оно побеждает битву какую-то.
But good always wins the war.
Но добро, оно всегда побеждает войну.
Any other questions?
Есть ли какие-то еще вопросы?
Is everybody satisfied now?
Все сейчас удовлетворены?
Everybody is ready to take the weapon of Prabhupada's knowledge and go out and fight the war against evil?
Все готовы взять оружие знания, которое дает Шрила Прабхупада, и пойти сражаться с...
To make a revolution on this planet?
Сделать революцию на этой планете.
Beginning with your own heart?
И в своем сердце.
And then to everyone and everything?
Начиная со своего сердца, изменить потом все.
Are you ready to fight for Prabhupada?
И готовы ли сражаться за Шрила Прабхупаду?
And to defeat the personality of Kali?
Или победить личность Кали?
By pure bhakti?
Воплощение Кали в чистом бхакти?
By strong preaching?
Сильной проповедью?
And by good intelligence?
И хорошим разумом?
Everyone's ready to fight now and become a spiritual revolutionary for Lord Chaitanya.
Что сейчас каждый должен быть готов таким стать борцом революционером за Господа Чайтанью.
This is what we want in ISKCON, you see. Prabhupada said,
Это то, что мы хотим в ISKCON, чтобы было, и Шрила Прабхупада об этом говорил.
he does not want sit-down Vaishnavas.
Он не хотел, чтобы сидящие...
He wants fighting Vaishnavas like Hanuman and Arjuna.
Он хотел, чтобы Вайшнавы сражались, как Хануман и Арджуна.
These are the two great classics of Indian literature,
Это две классики ведической литературы.
Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Роман и Махабхарата.
And these are the great fighting heroes, Arjuna and Hanuman.
Величайшие сражающиеся герои Арджуна и Хануман.
So these footsteps we are meant to follow.
И вот их стопам мы должны следовать.
Hanuman and Arjuna.
Хануман и Арджуна.
Thank you very much. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.